So when Dior rebranded or relaunched their Privé fragrances as Maison Christian Dior, they premiered with a lot of fresh fragrances that really didn't appeal to me. I felt like it was underwhelming and very, very mass. But they've had a few fragrances here and there that have been great. But today, I discovered this fragrance early January, like very, very beginning of January. In fact, it might have even been late December when they put it out, Rouge Trafalgar. As soon as I smelled it, I really loved it and enjoyed it. In fact, I loved it so much that I went and Instagrammed a photo of it on my Instagram account saying how great it is. Well, finally I have it. Actually, I've had it since the beginning of January, and I'm just now getting around to doing a video for you guys. So this is Rouge Trafalgar from the House of Dior. I'm going to tell you all about it coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, today it's all about Rouge Trafalgar, this one right here. And this is a fruity floral fragrance according to the Dior website. But it is considered a fruity chypre on Fragrantica. I don't find this to be a chypre, but it is definitely more fruity than floral as well. So today, as I said, it's all about Dior Rouge Trafalgar. But if this is your first time tuning into my channel and you love watching fragrance reviews, finding out about new fragrances, discovering new brands, and of course participating in giveaways and still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So this is another one of the releases from the Maison Christian Dior collection that is available everywhere. Whereas Santal Noir and Purple Oud are a little odd places. You can't really get them easily. But this one was launched everywhere, just like Spice Blend was launched everywhere. Whereas Spice Blend was underwhelming for me. I didn't really enjoy it as much. This one I am enjoying a lot, even though it's not groundbreaking or unique in any way, because I've smelled this fragrance multiple times. One fragrance I think that this kind of reminds me is the Diptyque's L'Ombre Down Low, but this one's a lot fruitier, whereas the other one is a lot greener and rosier. But again, I'm really enjoying it, and I felt like I need to have this fragrance because I don't have a fragrance this fruity in my collection, especially where it's focusing on the notes of black currant. It is a black currant balm, and it's quite delicious because whereas some fruity fragrances go sweet, this one doesn't go sweet. It's very green and tart with the black currant. But this is a 2020 launch. The perfumer that created this is Francois Demachy. He's the latest and the in-house perfumer. This is a 250 ml bottle like this. It retails for $330. It might even be $320 now that I think about it. I think it's $320 or $330, somewhere around there. I can't remember exactly. But also this comes in a smaller bottle, which you can look up on the Dior website. I picked this up at Neiman Marcus here in San Francisco. But if you have been watching me, I mentioned in my previous videos that I take advantage of the Neiman Marcus gift card promotion. And so when I take advantage of it, I get a gift card if you spend a certain amount of money. So earlier in January, like the first week in January, they had that promotion, and that's when I bought this with a couple of other fragrances. My 2020 Dior Homme was purchased from there as well. So what we have for notes here is top notes: strawberry, raspberry, orange, cherries. In the heart you've got grapefruit, black currant. In the base notes you've got patchouli, musk. It is basically a lot of that stuff, but what stands out for me mostly is the black currant, the raspberry, the grapefruit, the musk. And you do pick up some cherry there, the patchouli, and strawberry and orange comes in. But what really does it for me is that black currant with the raspberry and the grapefruit musk combo. Those are what's basically dominating this fragrance, and it's delicious. And as I mentioned, it is a fruity fragrance, but you're not experiencing a lot of sweetness. It is sweetness there, but along with the sweetness, you're getting a lot of tart. And sometimes you want tart. Sweet can be cloying sometimes and overwhelming when it's mixed in with some kind of notes. And fruity fragrances and sweet fragrances, most of the time I prefer them to be on the tart side versus the sweet side. Whereas gourmands, full-on gourmands, vanilla and things like that, I prefer them really sweet. Here, it's a nice balance of tart and sweet at the same time. And it's an ultra green fragrance, so you gotta like green. And the greenness in here is very similar to the greenness in Diptyque's L'Ombre Down Low. I find that to be a very black currant and black currant leaves fragrance, and it's transferred over here as well. I mean, they're not the same fragrance, don't get me wrong, but it's a similar idea. Whereas that one, they're focusing more on the leaves. Here they're more focusing more on the fruits, which is really, really delicious. Why I bought this one? Because it stands out. As a smell, it really stood out. As soon as I sprayed it on me, it smelled great. Almost like the point of delicious. Like you smell yourself and it jumps out at you, the smell, and it just kind of like really quenches, well, I should say quenches my thirst, because it is liquid after all, and it feels like you're drinking this delicious liquid, which you should not really do, but it's a winner for me. Whereas, as I said, the previous versions in the Dior collection were disappointing. This one definitely is an awesome release, and it's one that I think is going to be perfect come spring and summer, because to me it smells like spring and summer. It's just juicy and lush, and just in your face blast of fruits and greens and juiciness, if that makes sense to you guys. But Rouge Trafalgar is definitely a winner in the original collection and in this Plain Jane collection. I shouldn't really say Plain Jane, but a lot of the fragrances in the Maison Christian Dior lineup seem to be pretty Plain Jane, especially with the newer stuff. Minus the Balade Sauvage, which I really like. I really love that one, the fig one. And there was Terabella as well, which I just found out is just being pulled from the shelves here in Neiman Marcus, San Francisco, so I'm assuming it's getting discontinued, which is sad. They're just keeping to launch so much and pull so much, and will Terabella be going to the main stores in Paris? But we don't know. But I'm happy with this one. It's definitely a winner. I enjoy it a lot, and again, it'll come in really, really handy come spring and especially summer, because I find like this one, the tartness is going to be perfect for summer heat. The tartness is going to be perfect for humid. I feel like when I wear a tart fragrance, like let's say something is like very lemony and tart, sour, because there is some sour here, I feel like it cuts through the sweat, it cuts through the humidity, and it just quenches your thirst. And I think this is going to be perfect when it's really, really warm and hot, or, you know, sweaty outside. Anyway, that's Rouge Trafalgar, my review for you today. And I want to stress there's nothing like it is not really original. It's been done before, but as far as a fragrance that's been done before, this is ultra quality. It just smells great. It doesn't fall flat. It jumps at you. It has nice performance. Not a wimp, but also not like intense, because it is after all more of a fresh fragrance rather than an intense warm winter fragrance. But sometimes even in the winter time when you smell this, you crave spring and summer. You crave freshness. It's just a very, very fresh experience. Anyway, those are my thoughts about Rouge Trafalgar. Guys, are you familiar with this fragrance? Have you tried it? Does it sound interesting to you? One other thing I want to mention, this is a very unisex offering for me, but I think for some of you guys it might lean a little feminine. I don't find it to be feminine at all. The fruitiness maybe might be a turn off, but it is black currant after all. If you're used to wearing fragrances like L'Ombre dans l'Eau, a fruity, rosy kind of a green fragrance, then this one definitely should satisfy. It really, really does. It's a winner for me, and I hope you guys go check it out. If you have, and you've tried it, what are your thoughts? Please put a comment down so I find out, and also let me know if you haven't tested it out, if you're curious to try it. And also, lastly, let me know, are you a fan of the Maison Christian Dior collection of fragrances? And if so, what are your favorites? I'd like to find out. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Guys, I was putting together my Instagram post of red bottles or red juice and fragrances recently, and I pulled this bottle out, and as I was laying it near this, well, they're not really close in the image, I realized that this is very, very similar to this. So I had shot my review for Rouge Trafalgar, so I decided I'd put together a separate video that I could attach to the the previous video shot to review this and let you know about the differences and the similarities of these two fragrances. So Rouge Trafalgar is a fragrance that I really love, and Gucci Guilty Absolute Pour Femme is also another fragrance that I really love, but I felt like when I smelled and compared these two, even though they reminded me of one another, this is the one that was winning out over this. Now, if you are on a budget, this will satisfy over this because this is definitely on the pricier side. Although 250 ml bottle for $330 plus tax, and this is around $100 for a 90 ml bottle. So you can do the math. But it turns out that if you buy the larger bottle, they're very, very close price-wise per mil. So in the end, you will get a larger bottle, but it turns out to be close. And for me, as far as which one is winning out, is Rouge Trafalgar. I feel like this satisfied me up until I discovered this. They're very, very similar. They have that black currant note, raspberries and blackberries all together, and it's a very, very fruity concoction. This one actually, for me, this one actually smells more like blackberries, whereas this one smells like black currants. This one actually is a lot fruitier. This one is actually a lot woodier with fruity undertones. Although the fruity part is definitely forward, but when you compare the two, this one screams fruits. This one screams like a combination of fruits and woods together. So it's not overly fruity if you compare it here. It is definitely on the fruity side, don't get me wrong. But as far as this fragrance is concerned, this one has a lot more fruits. The fruits are basically screaming at you, and that's what I'm loving it here. It's a very, very green, fruity experience, and the black currant note is really, really standout. The other thing that's also in here that's pretty standout is the rose. There's lots of rose in here, and I don't think there's rose here. If there is, there's very, very minute traces of it. I don't pick up a lot of rose, if any, but here you definitely can pick up a lot of the rose here. So that's the differences, or the differentiating distinguishers of the two fragrances when you compare the two together. And one last thing that's different about these two that will separate them apart, this has a lot of patchouli in it. Even though the patchouli is the woody kind, not the earthy, sparkly, effervescent kind, or the chocolatey kind, I feel like the end result of this fragrance is a nice meshing of the fruits, the rose, and the patchouli woods together. Whereas here, even though the notes are very, very lovely, the way they're meshed or combined together, the fruits really scream out, really, really scream, and everything else is left behind. Whereas here, they're almost like equal players, if that makes sense to you guys. So in the end, oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. This one's a lot more tart. If you remember watching my review for this, I mentioned that this is tart, sour. Definitely that experience is here. This one is not so much, if at all. When you smell it, there's some tartness there, but it's nicely balanced, and the woods tone it down. But here, it's ultra sour and tart, which I love. I love it in here. It really does work together. And so it's a winner for me. Both of them are winners. I enjoyed this for a while. I have a full review of this, and I even said this is pretty unisex for a feminine offering. It's Gucci Guilty Absolute Pour Femme, and this one, of course, is Rouge Trafalgar, which was launched recently. One negative about this and the perfumer behind it, Francois Demachy, I feel like everything that he's launching lately has been popular in another fragrance, whereas like he doesn't really, I don't know, there's not much groundbreaking. Like he doesn't really take chances, and everything's been done before. Like this one reminds me of this one. Spice Blend reminds me of Spice Bomb. Santal Noir reminds me of Egoiste. Purple Oud reminds me of La Ligue Encre Noire with Gucci Guilty Absolute Pour Homme. So all these fragrances that are launching under this collection, even though they're supposed to be like niche quality and things like that, I feel like they've been done before and we already know them. Even though they do a better quality of it, like this compared to this, when you wear it and experience it, it's better quality of this fragrance. But I feel like they're just copping out and not giving us something very, very original. Don't get me wrong, I love this fragrance, that's why I have this bottle, but this is just a criticism that I have with Dior's Maison Christian Dior collection of fragrances, and I feel like they're just copping out, not taking chances with fragrances, and they're just giving us fragrances that are already proven and are successful out there, and they're giving us a unique twist on the fragrance themselves and then launching their own fragrance, which is kind of a bummer because originally when the Dior Privé, which is what it used to be called, now it's Maison Christian Dior, when those launched, those were pretty edgy and out there fragrances for designers, and that's why that collection, the Dior Privé collection, became so successful. What they launched with or relaunched with under the Maison Christian Dior collection, a lot of the fragrances were really, really boring, very, very common, not really unique, very, very mass, and then it just kind of fall flat. And now I feel like they are getting a little more solid, but I feel like they're already been there, done that. They're just taking fragrances that are existing and are great or wonderful, awesome fragrances, and then they're adding their own twist to it. Spice Blend kind of fall flat. Purple Oud I really like. Santal Noir I really love. And then the Rouge Trafalgar, even though it's nothing original, I really love this one as well. So there are some good ones out there. They're just not as unique and taking chances kind of fragrances. They're just kind of things that have been there and done that. Anyway, those are my thoughts about the two fragrances here, Gucci Guilty Absolute Pour Femme and Rouge Trafalgar from the house of Dior. What are your thoughts? Have you compared these two fragrances? Do you see the differences? And then do you see, of course, the similarities here? And have you compared the two? Let me know. Put some comments down. I know this video has now gone to be longer than normal, but after I shot the first review, I realized that, again, these two have similarities and they should be pointed out. Again, price-wise, if you get a large bottle, the per ml price is very close to one another. I haven't done the math perfectly, but it's very close. So if you can buy a large bottle and you can afford it, then the per ml price would be similar to this. If you buy the smaller bottle, then definitely this juice will be more expensive than this. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, do list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.